Let's look at some other examples we might have in Java for this quick refresher. When using a local variable, one that's built inside of a function, if block, something like that, you don't have to give an access modifier, the private, protected, package, or public. Those modifiers define who's going to have access to it. Only methods within our immediate class, those within our package itself, or everyone in general. However, you do need to provide it with a name, something that's called an identifier, and a data type. Java has several commonly used native data types, including int, float, byte, string, date, and char, which is short for character. You can only call a variable if you are within the block it was called or underneath it. So, if you have a variable in a function, you cannot call that variable from another function. Or, for a variable to be available in multiple functions or methods, it would need to be a class-level variable. Let's take a look at an example of a variable being used in an application. Here we're going to use a variable. Its name or identifier is greeting. It's a string, we've defined it as such, and we're given an initial value of equaling hello world. Now, you'll notice when we do our print line, we're passing the variable greeting. We know it's a variable because there's no quotes around it, but whatever's inside that variable is going to be printed. If we go to our console window, and we're going to do a Java on refresher 2, and now we're going to call Java. Notice our output is the same between our refresher 01 and our refresher 02. This is because the variable containing our string is exactly the same. Now, of course, our variable can change based upon a number of factors, including inputs from the user, files, etc. We can even concatenate with other strings or variables using a plus character. Let's take a quick look at that to see how we can use additional variables together. Inside of the class refresher03, you'll see here I've created two variables. Once again, we have our string greeting, and we've expanded just a little bit. And we have here int planet3. By declaring our variable planet, we've put a number in it, 3. Notice because it's a number, it doesn't require any type of quotes around it. Going back to our console window, we're going to compile this file. And we're going to run it. Here we've taken an integer and we've concatenated it with a string. Java's smart enough to do the conversion for us. We can even come in and modify our application just a little bit to pass in a string with our two variables. Once again, I'll add another plus sign for concatenation. What I'm going to do so it makes sense is I'm going to modify our variable. They're going to add a plus sign to concatenate inside our output. And I'm going to use a static string. Just a pair of double quotes with some text. I'm going to make sure my double quotes are before and after my string that I'm going to include. I'm going to save this file. Go back to my command console. Run Javac again. We have to run Javac every time we modify a source file. And now I'm going to run Java on my refresher3 class. You'll notice that instead of saying we're planet number 3, it now says we're third rock from the sun. So that's just a quick little change that we can do, but it shows the flexibility of how we can work with our different variables, incorporating other variables with them, or putting them with static values, in this case a static string as well. So our variables are going to give us a lot of flexibility. Hopefully this shows you some simple things you can do with Java, so you know how to be moving forward as you look to be building bigger and more complicated applications.